Welcome back, folks. This is the fourth in the series of my project on When You Fast, and for my capstone project with Lincoln Christian University. So, as I had done in the three previous videos, I talked about how uh, this week's attacks and victories. So, notice I said last week I felt like Job. And so what happened is I had a locker in Wyoming, and I had all of my mom's uh, antique Christmas items, my dad's antique bass lures, and all of our family pictures in this locker. And somehow or another, uh, the company didn't contact me or my daughter, and thus we lost everything. And you know, I know how, because it felt like I lost my family. It was absolutely devastating. And I lost several of my oil paintings. I lost some bronze statues I had. It was just absolutely devastating. I lost a sheep pelt that was put together with 8 lambskins. I lost uh, uh, 2 very expensive tents, camping tents, and sleeping bags, and backpacks, and easels, and oil painting. Oil paints. And so it was like my whole inside was empty. And just like the guy looking off the edge, I wasn't going to jump off like it appears he might be, but I really felt like Job I wasn't Job because he lost considerably more than I did. Uh, he lost his family and his wife and all of his cattle and everything else, but God rewarded him for his faithfulness. And so uh, I am still a little railing. I was in mourning for a long time, and yesterday I was sitting and thinking about everything, and I suddenly realized that um, David and his crew, or his merry men, all fasted for a day for Saul and his sons when he found out they had died. And I really didn't understand that, fasting in the morning. But, when I lost everything like this, and I lost my graduation pictures, my brother's graduation pictures, my mother's graduation pictures, my mother's wedding pictures, uh, my aunt's graduation pictures. I lost everything. Everything was gone. Just poof. And how I figured this out is about 2 weeks ago, God gave me a dream, and in this dream, I was watching a creek outside my house, and it was rising, and it looked like it was going to flood. And it was up pretty high. And so I ran back in the house to get my wife to bring her out to show her um, the flood that was about to happen. And when I opened the door to the room where everything was stored, the flood had literally taken everything away. And so right away I called my daughter and I said, "Do I still have my locker?" She says, "Yeah, Dad, it's been paid for." And I went, "Okay." But then on about Friday, she calls me up, says, "Dad, I got some bad news." And I knew exactly what it was at that very moment, that my locker was gone with everything. And I felt really, really devastated. So what the victory was that last week was I didn't quit the fast. Oh, I wanted to. Oh, I did. I was so upset. And Satan, sure enough, he comes to me and he says, "Look, quit. You know, you got every good reason to quit. And you know what? I may have had good reasons to quit, but I have better reasons to keep on going. Because what I'm doing here is helping people to understand the spiritual aspect, the psychological aspect, and the physical aspect of fasting and what they expect. I have not seen anything like this written in scholarly notes. I haven't seen anything like this in um, online. Oh, I see fast, a lot of fast, you know, and the scholars, oh, they write about fasting, but you know, it's all the same. They all have the same scriptures, and yeah, they have different takes on it, but it's the same. And so I just this is so unique and so easy to follow, and you're following me through this fast. You're watching me go through uh, various aspects of this fasting. So today, there wasn't a whole lot of information on the this physical part, not the this is during the fast, okay, and getting prepared for the mental part. I'm saying this is the mental part of the fast. Mental preparation. Now, when a person is thinking about going into a fast, they have to mentally prepare, and this is not an easy thing to do because you usually speak to somebody about that, and as soon as you do, the demons know about it, and so they start already starting to attack you. Okay, number one, what is the purpose of your fast? What are you going to fast for? Or are you just going to fast to honor God? And that is one purpose. Believe it or not, that is one purpose. But all through the Old Testament, the individuals there all had a purpose for fasting. Length of time. How long are you going to take a fast? Is it going to be a few hours? Or is it going to be days? Or is it going to be 40 plus? Date to date, okay? So you need to decide what date you're going to start and what date you're going to finish. And what day to start. And so there's a time period here that start and finish time. So that there's a time period. Now, say you want to go on a fast and all of a sudden it interferes with Thanksgiving and Christmas, the two of the most uh, celebrated years of Christianity next to April and Easter. And so, wow, you know, if you're going to fast, you're going to miss uh, Thanksgiving dinner, and most likely you'll miss a Christmas dinner and all of the treats in between. So this is a time when you need to decide what date to start, what date you're going to finish, what day to start. All right. So this last time, this fast, as I said in an earlier video, my wife wanted me to start on the 1st, but I wanted to start on the 30th. And so I decided to start on the 30th because I already had myself mentally prepared to start. What's your start and finish time? Now, that goes along with your short time. Say maybe you're only going to fast 6 hours a day, and you're going to do this a certain amount of days or just one day. Now, David, when he fasted for Saul, only fasted for the evening until the evening. Of course, his men were at war, but it might be that you have to go to work and your work is very strenuous, and a long time fast would be very difficult to do. So, or you choose to do just a lunchtime. Intermittent fast is what it's called, and those have become more popular as of late. This is very important. Know your weaknesses. Where have you failed in the past? Now, if you fasted in a fast and you didn't get all the way through, what was the trigger that prompted you to quit? What are the things that really make you get depressed or stop doing something. You have to know these things because Satan will use them against you. And so it's very important to know what to do when you're under stress. All right, so you know what? Know well how you handle stress. What do you do when you're under stress? And there's going to be stress in this mental preparation because wow, there's all kinds of things that's going to come up. So you have to know how you deal with stress and how you deal with failure because this is very important. Satan wants you to fail. This is very strong. Just like what I'm doing here, he wanted me to quit. And the thought crossed my mind, but no, I know that God's in on this. All right, mental preparation continued. What kind of fast are you going to go on? All right, so there's all kinds of fast out there, and you need to decide what works best for you. You could do the Daniel fast, which is about 3 weeks long, and you eat mostly vegetables. It actually somebody called it a vegan fast, and it worked well for him. You can water fast only water fast. I think I'm right. So anyhow, this one takes a lot of mental preparation because just water is difficult and stuff. So yeah, and then total abstinence fast. Now that means you're gonna totally abstain from all food. Now during a water fast, you can choose to take a few bites of food or have something on hand. Now I want to add something here. Uh, a juice fast, all right? So a juice fast is just that. For your dinners and stuff, you take juice and juice only, but not every juice is equal. So you need to decide on what kind of juices you're going to take. You're going to take tomato juice, vegetable juice, or you're going to take fruit juice. Now you got to remember, fruit juice carries a lot of sugar to it, so or maybe a fast a soup fast where you choose to just take chicken broth. All right, so um, everything's you got your choice of fast, and there's almost unlimited amount of different kinds of fast a person can take. But I will reiterate that the fact that quitting YouTube or watching your shows on the television or quitting television or putting your phone down is not a spiritual fast. Yes, yes, it is a fast. And yes, you can gain spiritual insight on it, but it does not do what a food fast can. What is your heart condition? Now this is really important here. Are you ready for this kind of thing? What's the reasoning for this? Is your heart into it, or did somebody just suggest you fast? So what is your heart condition? Are you ready to sacrifice your food? And it is a sacrifice. Food is very important. As I traveled all through Malaysia and Cambodia, culture circles food, and food circles culture. And without those two, the countries nearly don't exist. Well, they exist, but I mean, everything is spoken through food as a culture. And just look at Thanksgiving that's coming up tomorrow for you guys. No Thanksgiving here in Cambodia, especially for me. But, uh, you know, you're going to give up some stuff. And it's a sacrifice. And it's a sacrifice unto God. So what is your heart condition? Are you ready for such a thing? Mental preparation continued. How will you handle unexpected situations? Like number one, unexpected guest. Oh, this happens a lot. Hasn't happened here in Cambodia, but back in the States when I would fast, oh, unexpected guests would show up. And you know what? Unexpected dinner invitations. Yes, they would invite me to dinner. And wow, here I am sitting here in a steakhouse watching everybody eat steak, and I have to abstain. So uh, yeah, that's difficult. Holidays. Are you mentally prepared to give up the food for holidays and all of the cookies and candies and treats that go along with it? Church activities. Now, this where I used to go to church in the United States, they would have a monthly potluck, and it was good. I mean, I've been to a lot of potlucks in my life, but this is exceptionally good potluck. And so if a person's going to be a 30-day fast or a 40-day fast, you could expect that you're not going to get to go to that potluck, or you can go to the potluck, but you're not going to be able to eat the food if you're on a abstinent fast of some sort. Sudden devastating events. This is what I went through by losing all of my family pictures and heirlooms and whatnot. So this happens, and Satan will make it happen. If he thinks he can stop you from fasting, he will use something. So you have to be ready for unexpected situations and how you react. Now, what I did for this unexpected situation, I went up on my rooftop, whereas previous videos, previous video had some pictures of my rooftop, and I went up there and just started praising God. I lifted my hands up and just thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. And I did that for about 30 minutes, and then I went into prayer, and the mornings kind of subsided, but I was still pretty sad about things. But I knew that I was on track with God, and I wasn't going to quit. Other. Now, other can be anything as other. Um, and so I'm not I put other in there because other I can't cover all of the situations that you may encounter, but whatever they are, they're definitely going to test you, and it's a good idea to uh, be prepared, especially mentally prepared. During your fast, possible prayer times. What time have you chosen to pray for yourself? Now, you know, in Matthew it says, you know, go into your closet in prayer. Well, that is not always possible to do. Maybe you work a 12-hour shift 7 days a week, and by the time you get home, you're absolutely exhausted, and so you're looking for a prayer time. Well, you know, at work, at lunch, instead of going in and sitting with the guys, go out for a walk and pray. You know, while you're driving to work, pray. But you know, figure out what your prayer times are going to be. Where are you going to pray? Now, you know, again, the word says, Jesus says us to go into our closet. That is not always possible. If you do have a closet to go in, that is really good, and you got the time you can do that. So, yeah, uh, how are you going to pray? Now, that's kind of an interesting thing, but you know, what's your purpose of praying? Who are you praying for? Or are you praying just to bless God in this fast? That is a reason to fast. It's just to bless God. Are you praying for the nation? Uh, what directions are you praying for the nation? Are you praying for yourself for something else or whatever? Whatever. If you're consuming food, what does that mean? How does that fall into? If you're consuming food, one of the things where will you do this? Okay, so um, you can consume at home or at work or someplace, but you have to be prepared to know when you're going to consume. How often? It's very important how often. Um, if you're consuming food, how often are you going to have a food intake? Are you going to have it just in the morning, evening, afternoon? Are you going to have just one time a day you eat? So these things have to be thought about before fasting. A lot of times a lot of people I know just jump into a fast and they fail because they had lack of preparation. How much food are you going to take? And this is really important too. If you're gorging yourself at breakfast, then you're not fasting. You're just preparing yourself to not eat lunch or supper all day long because you filled yourself up full. So, how much you're going to eat. Stay flexible. This is very interesting. And I'm going to say this: if you're on a long-term fast, uh, adjust your fast as needed. All right, now I'm going to give you an example that in my case, I have type 2 diabetes. And I've been watching my blood sugar, and it's fasting morning is at 70, between 72. And this morning, or yesterday morning, got up, I felt dizzy, my legs are heavy, my arms felt like they had lead weights on them. And so my wife said, why don't you eat half a banana? I did, and that didn't quite do it. So on the way to the job interview I had to go to, I took an apple with me, and that got me through. That woke me up by the time I hit the interview. So adjust your fast as you need it. If you're on a water fast and you're not doing so well, then maybe you need to adjust and add some food. Now, I'm not, you know, adding some soup or something to adjust your fast. And like maybe your blood sugar uh, is gone down and you get it back up, and the next day it doesn't go down, and so, you know, stay flexible. Do what you can to be successful. Uh, Also, if you took on more than you can handle, a complete water fast is a lot of mental preparation. It's very hard. So, you might need to look at what adjust on a little bit, and I spoke about that enough to be successful. Boy, I misspelled successful to the end. And so um, the idea is not get real religious about your fasting. Don't get hard nosed about your fasting. Um, if you're when you're fasting, it's kind of a living, breathing thing. In But if that is one of your triggers that you can talk yourself out of fasting, then be very careful how much food you consume, or how long, or how many sweets you're going to take. That's something to be very careful about. But adjust only a little bit, enough to be successful to the end. Keep water on hand at all times. This is an absolute must, to keep water on hand all the time. This is your lifesaver. And, I do not suggest that you do a total abstinent fast without water and food for more than 3 days. The human body is not able to do that. Uh, a human body can go 40 days without food, but only 3 days without water. And I've heard people tell me that Jesus didn't drink water while he was in the wilderness. And I beg to differ, because at the end it says that the angels came and ministered to him and gave him food to eat. The only one that remotely suggests that there was no water drank during the time of the fast, and that was when Moses was on the hilltop. But we really don't know if God provided him with that. It's not written in the Word. So I'm saying, don't give up your water. Water is enormously important. Okay? failure. All right? Failure. Satan will tell you you did fail. He will bring up your past failures and he will do everything he can. But you know what? There is no such thing as failing. Now, I'm sure people would differ with me on this, but you know what? If you start a fast and you don't make it through, that's okay. It's okay. The idea was that you started the fast and you worked on it. So the next time when that comes up, you know, you're ready to do it again. And one of the things you tried is something that others only dream of doing. And believe me, fasting in the Christian community is rare. Very rare. People like to pray, they pray a lot and they give a lot, but you know, they don't follow that third scripture in Matthew where Jesus says, and when you fast, they do not, it's like that doesn't even exist. So you're doing something most people have never done or dream of doing, right? God sees what you had tried to do, and He will reward your efforts. You know, this is God. We don't have a God that reaches out with a hammer and slams us when we fail. No, He's a God of grace and a God of mercy, and He doesn't see you as a failure. He sees you as His child, and that, you know, whatever you do for Him. He's going to reward you for that. So this is when you fast, you know, don't be as the hypocrites that fast, but fast in such a way that you bring honor to God. And this is mainly what fasting is about, is bringing honor to God. Now, later on, when I speak about fasting in the spiritual aspect, which will be next week and then possibly the week after, we'll talk about spiritual things like that. Make notes. Oops, can't see that. I don't think I can change that. Make notes on what went on during your fast. This is really important, to make notes on what goes on. What triggers did Satan hit you with? What things did it cause you to want to quit? What things could you have done to adjust your fast to be successful? And so it's not a hard thing. It does take time, and you know what? You're going to find a lot of extra time on your hand because we spend a lot of time eating. And so, yeah, make notes so that when the next time you fast, you will have things and you'll be, again, going back to the purpose of fasting, the preparation and whatnot. Okay? Never ever give up. You can do this. It's not easy, but you know what? I've always been told, for me, that anything that's easy is not worth doing. And fasting is not easy. It is strenuous. You could be walking through the mall and smell all of the smells. Thanksgiving's coming up. Oh my Lord, that would be hard. And so, but we can do this. Our patriarchs of the Old Testament did so. Now, for them, and including Jesus' disciples and the Jews during the time of Jesus, all fasted, and it was just a normal part of life. Well, this isn't a normal part of life for the American Christian, and also possibly for most Christians around the world who might get to watch this. So never ever give up, and you can do this. You can do this, and I know you can because I can. And my wife has fasted. Now that I put this out, my daughter's chosen to fast a couple days, and so things are going well. And she's finding. She told me, she called me up and said, "Dad, you know what? By the second day, I really felt a clarity in my thinking. I wasn't bogged down. I was, she's a nurse and she has very uh, interesting situations that come up in her nursing. And so to think clear would be really a positive aspect. Never, ever, ever give up. Fight through this thing. Adjust your fast. If you feel like you're going to eat a lot, you know, I don't suggest this, but eat and then start again. Satan wants you to quit. He knows the power of fasting. He knows that miracles take place. You know, I had a time when I was fasting and my wife and I were having a hard time, and I fasted, and sure enough, it fixed the situation. So don't give up. You can do this. Okay, weekly bibliography. Um, yeah, anyhow, so there's that. And I hope to see you next week. God bless, and never ever give up.